Okay, let's see how this all works together. So you're a group going out for a meal and you're going to be splitting the bill. It's always the dilemma at the end of the day. So I've developed this app that's going to help you. So we have a choice of going and having each person that's participating in the meal to scan a QR code or a barcode or so forth. But that adds a layer of complexity that is unnecessary in case one of their connections are not working and things don't collate into the cloud, etc. So I've developed it so that it works on one device in a browser, local browser. It will remain there even if the browser closes. It's in the cache, and when you're totally done, you go finalize it. It will clear it off your device. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. This is the main panel where the host, in this case, say it's yourself, you're going to configure it. And these startup places here is just aesthetics. It's user interface kind of. So the dark mode, if you tap there, if you move the red button, you can see the continue button at the bottom changes color. Or you can have presets that you tap on these little balls. These are just to add a better look and feel. So we've stopped on this maroon here. You will enter your name as the host. So I'm going to enter Rory and you'll put in a password. For now, I'm going to just put 123 and say continue. The name on top here is going to be, let's put McDonald's. The R is just a symbol. It's not a currency per se. It's the symbol of the currency. So if you go and you remove that, you go backspace, you see it will ask you for a currency. I'm using R because that's South African rands. And then the next one asks you whether this R must be to the left or to the right of the amount that you're putting in. It might just, in certain cases, come at the end of the number. Most of your purchases will be VAT inclusive when you're having meals and so forth. So if the thing is 70 Rand on your bill, then it's most likely inclusive of VAT. So you wouldn't need to touch that. However, if you're in a country where it's exclusive and they calculate the VAT at the end, then you can tap that and choose exclusive and then just choose what percentage VAT needs to be added at the end. But I'm going to leave it on inclusive. And here's where the names get entered in. Now, in this case, just remember, if you're the host and you're going to be ordering, which is most likely the case, put in your detail also. So I'm going to go Rory, and then I'm going to put in, let's say, Hayden, Gary, Hayden, Craig, and Gary. So those are my brothers. So we're putting it in there, and I say then start. What this is doing is giving me 4 pockets of entries that we've got to fit in. So if it's on your device, when, say, for example, Hayden is going to order his things, you could either just say, okay, you keep a menu with you. I think this works well. You keep a menu with you, even though, after people come and they serve you, they collect the menus and take them away. You could possibly keep one of the menus with you and say, for example, Hayden orders a cup of coffee. Just part of the etiquette is going to be I'm ordering a cappuccino large, and you can look at the menu and see the amount, or you can pass the phone to him and he can tap on Hayden and he's going to say coffee. He doesn't have to specifically say cappuccino, it's just a descriptor, and say that thing is 56 Rand 86. Now here you don't have to put the dot in between, it automatically will put the decimal point, and then you say add item. If we look at the bottom, I'm going to just pinch the screen to see everything. There it says coffee and quantity, etc. If you want to delete it, you can delete, or edit, you can modify it accordingly. Okay, so those are the two. Say Hayden is done. He's going to press done. Now, I'm the host, so I'm Rory. I'm going to have maybe a T. Just put a variation there and put that amount like that. And I'm going to say done. And let's say Craig and Gary. Okay, let's put Craig is going to order, say, toast. Just putting in different stuff so we can see it function together, and say done. And Gary's going to order, say, pizza. And that is going to be that price and add, and we say done. Now, the evening might go on and folk might add more stuff on. So this is what you do. Even if the browser closes, when you open it up, it still retains it in the local browser of the phone. So we're getting on in the evening and somebody's ordering a drink or an extra part to the meal. This part of the screen will still remain where you'd be updating things. If somebody joins the meal, you can go and say modify participants. If you go here, the host will need to put in their password, which in this case is 123. And you can go in here and maybe say, Tom just joined the party. And you will then see Tom's name will appear there. Okay, but we're not going to put anything onto Tom, so I'm going to press delete here. Again, whenever you're deleting names, modifying sort of names of participants, the admin is required to put in their password, because we don't want, by mistake, one of the participants deleting somebody's name or their name. So I'm going to say, okay, and it says delete Tom and the items. Yes, that was just an example. So there we have it now. So let's add one more item. So Rory comes and it's close to the evening and he wants a water, and he orders a water. And let's add that item and say done. Now the host goes, are you guys all satisfied? Everyone placed your orders, finished, and no one wants to place any more orders. Everybody thumbs up. We're happy. Now you go to host finalize. And here again, it's the password of the host. So the host takes the phone, puts in the password, and we're at this point. I had a feature in here that used to round up every little bit amount. So if somebody had to pay 29.34 Rand, I was rounding up to the nearest 5 or the nearest 10. But I found that was maybe a bit cumbersome, because somebody that gets billed 29.34 and feels they just want to pay that amount, then, rounding up things is going to put a little bit more on their bill, and that might create issues. So the host can round it up by just seeing the amount. So if it's 34.20, the host can say, okay, let's round it up to the next 5, which is 35 Rand. So it's easier to handle the cash that way, or the card tap, depending. So here we have now back, and take us back to that screen before, but you pretty much already have dealt with. There's no more orders going forward, although you have the option of going back. Let's just look at, before we look at the no gratuity and pro rata, general summary is when every time you make changes, you click general summary, it takes the new changes and it applies it and displays it. Reason it's doing it that way is that if you, for example, add gratuity and the screen updates with all the buttons at the same time and the figures, it's going to be jumping all over the place. So we rather let you do your modification and then generate summary. Print to PDF, that's just to get a downloadable hard copy of your bill that you generated. Support project, this is if you want to support, you can give it in South African rands, or you can give to a system called Buy Me a Coffee, which is a dollar-based setup. That's just to donate to the development of future applications to make life easier for everybody. So there's no fees to this. It's by donation. The final one is finalize reset. That's if you're totally happy and everything is paid, you finalize reset. It will take all of these settings, the users, the items and everything, and take it out of the browser you're in, out of the cache, and clear it as if it's brand new. I'll do that right at the end. Okay, so if you want to see what the bills are at the moment, because now you want to work out gratuity, you click Generate Summary. And at the bottom here, there you will see, again, if it's not all showing on your screen, just pinch the screen. On a bigger screen, it will appear all immediately. So there you can see the total bill is 328.76, and there's no gratuity put in there. So now we're going to put in the gratuity and see how that works. So the folk may go like, okay, let's give gratuity to make it up to, say, 350 Rand. So then they've got to look and say, okay, what's the difference there? It is maybe 21 Rand 24. So you could go, okay, let's make it an amount. I think it's 21 Rand 24, and we're going to split it equally amongst everyone. Or let's leave it on pro rata first. So what should happen at the bottom here, the grand total should be 350. If that's the way you want to work it, let's go and we say generate summary. That's it. And then it's taken it pro rata, each of the portions. So now if you look at Rory, it's 52 Rand. And if you're rounding up to the nearest 5, you could say he must give 55 Rand, and that extra bits will just go as an extra gratuity. Hayden is on 60. You know, you could go for 65, but you decide how you work that one out. Or you can stick to the exact amounts if people are using their card to tap, you're doing multiple taps kind of thing. So there's the 350. Let's go, and if we say we're going to not choose an amount, or let's not pro rata, we're going to split it. This means that 24 is equally going to be split amongst the 4 people. So if I generate summary, there you can see each one is paying 531. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. You're splitting the amount. So we're going to go now and try gratuity percentage and maybe make it 15%. And let's keep it on split. So that means no matter what you purchased, each one is going to pay the same amount of gratuity based on the final bill. So I'm going to generate summary. And there we go. Each one's paying 12 Rand 33. And the full bill we're paying is 378.07. Okay, so that's how that works. If we go pro rata, we can generate summary. It still comes out to that amount, but you see that each person's amount of gratuity differs based on the amount of their bill. And again, if you want to go like, oh, what was our original bill before gratuity, you can just go to say no gratuity and say generate summary, and that will say that was your actual bill. It's not complicated to say that was your actual bill and then go back to gratuity and say percentage, and it was on 15 and generate again, and you're back there. Okay, so that's how it fits in there. So let's go and look at print to PDF. This will work on your applications, your phone's device that's got a PDF printer on it. There are built-in applications, but this you can now save this PDF, and this will keep a record of the different amounts. So I recommend you do that and save it on your device before you clear up everything. In case there's a comeback somewhere, then you've got that record. And then support the project. If you tap here, it opens up a new screen. Your original screen is still on another tab. So if you read at the bottom, if you want to return to the KR app, just switch back to the previous tab. On my phone, I can swipe to the left and it will go to the previous tab right back here. Okay, I'm going to go back there again. And then buy me a coffee. If I tap there, you'll see here you can enter an amount in dollars, whether it's $2 or whatever it is. Let me go back from here. If I go to Pay for South Africa, there it's going to ask for an amount of 25 Rand. That's like a $2 or a $3 tip. So this goes towards me as a developer so that it reinforces, at least spend some time developing other useful apps. Okay, so this is for South Africans. And if you are from another country, you can use that also because it takes debit or credit cards. But this is just a donation system if you feel you've had worth from the application. Okay, so once everything is done and you've got your PDF nicely, then I'm going to just show you that if we close all of these off, I'm going to just close every single tab that I have open. And then I'm going to open up a tab and I'm going to go, let me see to, I'm going to go F3E. I'm going to just go all the way back. I think I've got it on my, yeah, I have it as a shortcut. So I'm going back. If I refresh, you see if I come back here, if I refresh and I click generate summary, everything is still there. So even though I close the browser, it's all still there. However, if I go now and I say finalize, and it's not asking me for a password because to get to this page, I already had to put in a password. So I am the host working on this page. So it doesn't need another verification with password. It says clear all data and restart. So if I say, okay, we're right back to that very same page. Now, if I go and close these two pages and I click Lekker Slaap again, which is just a shortcut on my desktop, I don't see the figures and everything because the cache has been totally cleared out. Okay, and then you have it ready for your next event. So if you're opening up your browser and you go to the link and you open it and you got the previous things in there, you must go and finalize it, clear the cache, and you'll start with a brand new slate here. So hopefully this gets you ahead and saves you from the embarrassment of having to sit and having to pay for people and then ask them for money and people saying, no, I didn't buy this and so forth. So it's called Lekker Kuier. It is an application. Lekker Kuier is a South African Afrikaans word for, get together and enjoy yourself. So you don't want to stress yourself when you're together. You want to actually enjoy your socializing. So you kuier lekker. So have a good day, have a blessed day, and shalom to everybody.